Hi guys, welcome back. Last week we were discussing the journey of finding a job in the Netherlands. Today I bring to you 10 questions that you should ask yourself before looking for a job abroad. Number 1. What are my skills and qualifications? If you're looking to find a job in order to continue developing your career and your professional experience, then it's important that you ask yourself whether the country of destination is demanding that you already have a specific educational level. For example, is it sufficient to just have a bachelor's degree, or would you need also to have a master or PhD? It's also important that you ask yourself whether the skills that you have, specifically the hard skills that you have, are in demand in the country of destination. Parallel to that, if what you're looking for is only a work experience that also allows you to experience life abroad, then it's also sufficient to only assess your specific hard skills that you are capable of offering. For example, when I went to work to Disney back in 2012, all I needed was to be enrolled in a bachelor's degree program and to be able to speak English. Therefore, make sure that you assess what are your specific goals and if your skills and qualifications meet the specific interest you have. Number 2, what is life like in the country of destination? For example, if you are going to go and find a job abroad, you should also ask yourself, is the country of destination offering an opportunity for the short, mid, and long term that meets my career development goals? Important question to ask. Also, what kind of languages do I need to work and live there? Am I capable of handling the lifestyle there? For example, in the Netherlands, if you speak English, we're already in the better side because everybody speaks English, or most people do. But if I would learn Dutch, my career development opportunities multiply. Also, along with that, in the Netherlands, people commute by bike. The weather is not great every time. Am I willing to handle that? Important question to ask yourself as well. These similar questions are something that you should also assess for the country of interest and destination that you have. What is life like there? Do I have the language skills that I require to live and work in this country? And most importantly, if I'm going to move for a job, is my career development path available there? Food for thought, guys. Number 3, what is the job market like in my desired location? Okay, now you know that you want to move to that country. You have revised that you can have the skills and capabilities of handling life there. Great. But for example, what are the salary expectations? What is it that people have as income in the country of destination? Does it suffice to have the lifestyle that I wish to have? Very important question. Also, it's very important that you check on the employment rate. If the employment rate is low, very likely they will prefer locals and expats. So make sure that you put in the balance this part of the equation as well. Number 4, do I need a work visa? And wow, this one I have so much to say about it. High chances are that if you're moving to a country that is not your own, you will need your visa unless there is a geographical arrangement. Like for example, there is in the EU and in Europe, there's a bit of a free transit for moving abroad to another European country. This is a huge exception of something that I see happening in the world. Most likely, when you go to move to another country, you will need a visa. What are exceptions? For example, if you have a passport for a special reason, for example, one of your parents is a national of that country of destination, okay, you're probably not needing a work visa. You only need to present your passport and you will be valid as a national if it applies for the country of destination. Most of us, and I include myself, being Mexican in the Netherlands, I need a work visa, and to get a work visa you need 2 things. First, there is something that if I had come from abroad directly to work to the Netherlands, I would have need a highly skilled immigrant permit, which has a specific set of requirements. I'm going to give you a link here just for you to notice some examples of requirements for this kind of visa and work permits. But on top, not only I need to get a visa sponsorship from the company that I work for, on top, not all companies are capable of providing a work permit. There is a list, for example, in the Netherlands that has publicly announced what are the companies in the Netherlands that are authorized visa sponsors. This is a crucial place to start if your country of destination is the Netherlands, because if you want to go and apply for jobs, you might want as well first check if the company you're applying to is listed there in case that you, like me, need a work permit. Number 5, what language skills do I have? Besides the fact that it is ideal that you speak the language of the country of destination, at least for daily life, and if that is not the case, it is ideal that you speak the second language that the majority of the people speak as well, it's important to assess how much of a language level skill you have as well. For example, here in the Netherlands, if I speak Dutch for daily life, it helps me for my daily routines and my daily activities. But if I would speak Dutch also for the corporate world, I would probably escalate into the corporate ladder faster and into higher positions where I am able to communicate, especially if I'm wanting to work for a Dutch company. So it's important that you assess the language skills that you have and in what level of fluency you have them, in order to also be able to understand what are your opportunities of career development as well. And of course, you should also ask yourself if you're willing to develop this language skill for yourself. Another food for thought, guys. Number 6, what are the work cultural differences? It is of high relevance that you familiarize yourself with the work ethics, the business practices, and overall the corporate culture of the company that you want to work for. For example, what are the values that the company that you want to work for highly appreciates? Or what kind of hierarchy do they have? For example, in the Netherlands, hierarchies inside corporates tend to be flat. This means that people are expected to provide feedback and to be able to receive feedback with no further problem. How would you feel in such environment? Asking yourself these kinds of questions is of really high importance in order to know what to expect once you're already there in the workplace. Number 7, what are the living costs? This is such an important topic to assess before moving to any other country, at least in 3 areas: housing, transportation, and healthcare. For example, in the Netherlands, regarding housing, it is very expensive to rent or buy a place here. There is a very scarce supply of houses and apartments available for rent, for example. Therefore, prices are high, and if you don't know this in advance, it can really catch you by surprise or make you doubt if you're paying something that is fair or if it's normal. Second, after that comes transportation. Also here, having a car is very expensive. It has high taxes on it. It is more likely that when you arrive to a country like the Netherlands, you will first have a bike before you have a car. Buying a bike is also not that cheap. If you buy a second-hand one that is on good conditions, it will be something between 300 and 350 euros. So it's something that you might want to know in advance as well. And last but not least, healthcare is something that you really have to check in advance. How are you going to have access to it? In a country like the Netherlands, for example, every individual is obliged to hire their own healthcare insurance. There is no option to that. Legally, you should do it, and you should pay it from your own pocket in a monthly basis. So there you have it, guys. This is an example of the Netherlands, but just make sure that whatever the country of destination is, you at least check what is the expenses in these 3 areas, and that you know what are your obligations and rights in order to have each one of them. Number 8, do I have a support network abroad? Now, saying network is a big word. Maybe in an ideal world, it would be great that you move to another country and you already have their family or a close group of friends. If you don't have such thing that helps you in the transition, hopefully you at least have someone that can provide you with guidance. Perhaps there is a friend of a friend or someone that already hired you, and the HR manager can refer you to a specific point of contact to help you with the transition of moving. That would also be great. And along with that, if none of the above is available and you don't have a close friend or family member or specific support from the company you're working for, it's also important that you say, am I capable of dealing with the transition on my own? Is it something that I see myself doing without more stress than necessary? And most importantly, am I willing to not have such close network in the short, mid, and long term? This is also important for you to answer to yourself in order to know if perhaps what you want is to really to move for the long term abroad, or perhaps just for the short or mid term. Number 9, what are my long-term career goals? Considering whether you really want to move abroad to build your entire life abroad all over again, or just being there for a specific period of time is very important. Perhaps you want to really start over in a new country because this was your dream to live here, and then you build upon that, finding a job, buying a house, building a family life, etc. This could be one case. On the other hand, it's also very valid to say, wait 1 second, I only want to go abroad for a couple of years, collect international professional experience that then I can bring back home, and that would also bring me the chances of being more competitive in my home country. Both as valid. It's very relevant that you ask yourself also, what are the long-term goals? The long-term is also abroad, or is a long-term in the end back home in my home country? It's important to at least have an answer to this question before you move so that you have an initial clarity, despite the fact that it can change over time. Number 10. Am I ready to face the challenges of moving abroad? Really, assess your readiness. Are you ready logistically, emotionally, and socially to move to a new country? This is a very important point that it is frequently underestimated, and it's important because even if you might know the answer to these questions, you might still find yourself surprised because life always manages to surprise us. It reminds me of a specific experience I had when I moved to China. When I was going to Shanghai, I was going for studying, but I think that the questions I got asked in the airplane are just as applicable for when you go for a job abroad. I remember we were about to land, and this lady already knew I was going to study, and she told me, "Have you been in China before?" And I said, "No." "Have you ever been so far away from home?" I was like, "No." "Have you ever been so long away from home?" "No." And she told me, "Wow, you are very brave." I think only in that instant, and I will never forget, I realized how huge it was what I was doing. I was still not afraid of it. I felt ready for it. But it would have been a different ballgame if I had asked myself these questions, or simply said if I had been in China before, or if I had been abroad for a year before, or if I had at least been so far away from home in a holiday, for example. So, food for thought, guys. Again, think about it. How ready do you feel to start over your life in a new country, even if it's a short period of time? Alright guys, well, that was all for today. 10 questions to ask yourself before you go looking for a job to another country. I hope you found this information useful. It was a lot to digest perhaps, but I'm only here wishing that I am helping you to defeat the learning curve of your next life experience abroad. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments, please drop them in the comments box below. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe. Your subscription keeps me motivated to continue to create more content. And that being said, thank you so much and see you next time. Bye!